So I've definitely been lagging on making this video. I don't know why. I was like super excited at first and then I got really nervous, but I'm finally gonna make it. So this video is gonna be on what's it like being a stepmom. So I think my experience has been very different than a lot of stepmoms. Number one, because I came into Malachi's life when he was just still a little baby. So I don't think he really remembers like life without me, which sounds kind of funny, but he was just a little baby. I don't remember him ever like talking yet. I don't think he talked yet. He was still in a stroller and still in diapers. So I've really been fortunate to be able to like watch him grow and grow with him. Anyway, so it's kind of important to know how Rob and I kind of started off, because I always told myself that I didn't want to date someone with a kid just because I wanted to have like both of our first kid together or whatever, but life doesn't always turn out how you plan. So, but I'm so grateful that it didn't, because I have the best family that I could ever like wish for. So Rob and I met when we were both on vacation. I was still going to school and living in Oregon, and he was living in Modesto at the time, well still, and I had never really heard about Modesto. The only thing I heard about it was my friend moved here for a girl and he hated the city here, but I thought it was just like grass and cows, and like I didn't really think it was like a city, because the only times I heard people talk about it was about like farmland and agriculture, and I'm definitely like a city girl. So when I found out he lived in Modesto, I was like, no, like that's not gonna work. And also just the fact that I was about to start a new school year and I wanted to have fun and just live out my college years. I had been in a relationship already for like 3 years of my college career, and I just kind of wanted some time for myself. But I met Rob. We were both on vacation. We met on Tinder. I think a lot of people know that already, but we met on Tinder, and on his Tinder profile it said that he was a father of one. So I was like,
okay, I'm gonna make you a father of two, baby.
Just kidding. But yeah, it said he was a father of one, and I didn't really care because I didn't think I was ever gonna meet that kid. I honestly didn't see like a relationship in the future with Rob. Just wanted to like hang out and have some fun. Like definitely totally not thinking this was gonna go any further than a friendship. So we met up, we really clicked right off the bat. And as our friendship progressed, our feelings progressed. And actually one of the reasons that I really like started thinking about Rob seriously was because I got to see him as a dad. I think he is an awesome, dedicated father, which unfortunately nowadays I feel like a lot of guys just drop off the face of the planet when they have a kid with someone that they're not interested in being with. And Rob is like awesome. He lived in Florida at the time, and he moved all the way to California just to be in his son's life, and he had to leave a job that he was really happy with, and he came all the way to California because that's where Malachi's mom was living, and he slept on people's couches. He really had nothing here. He didn't have like friends or much family out here. He literally came just to be in his son's life, and he started out at jobs that didn't pay much, and he was very like unstable his first few years, but anything that he could do to see his son, he was willing to do. And so at first he only saw him on Saturdays. He would get up really early and go out. They live like 2 hours away from Modesto. And so he would drive the 2 hours, spend all day with him at a theme park, and then drive all the way back here. And so when we first started dating, that's where his situation was at. And I was living in Oregon. So when I would come visit him, I would sometimes drive literally 18 hours in a weekend to spend 2 days with him, which was crazy. But what you do for love, you know? But he told me straight off the bat, like, I would love you to come visit me, but I just want you to know, like, we're gonna have to spend time with my son because that's his son, and that was the only day that he got to see him. And I noticed that a lot of my friends and family were kind of just like, oh, like, get ready because he's never gonna put you first, like, it's always gonna be his kid first. But honestly, that was something I found very attractive because maybe it's because of the way I grew up. My dad always put me first, and to me that's a good parenting skill, to put your kid first. You would think it's a common sense, but a lot of people definitely put their relationships first and friends first and partying first and stuff. So when I would come see him, we would spend the day in this place called Gilroy Gardens. It's a little kids theme park. We'd spend all day there, and that was like most of my time that I would spend with Rob was that day with Malachi as well. And I met Malachi very early, like before Rob and I even were officially together. I met Malachi because he wanted to spend time with me, but he also didn't want to give up a date with his son. So we compromised, and that's how I met him. And straight off the bat, I thought he was an amazing father. I loved his dedication. But I still like didn't see us being together. Like I did see us being together, but it was still new to me. I had never dated someone with a kid. It's not something I really like thought about in the long term, but as we progressed, I definitely started to think about it more. Sorry guys, my baby was crying, so I had to go feed her really quick. But what I left off on was saying that at the time when we first started dating, I was still in college, so I was still like a wild party girl. You can ask Rob or any of my friends, but we used to literally go to a nightclub Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, sometimes Sundays. And that was just my mindset. I was very like all about having fun, enjoying my last years in college. I was 21, so I wanted to just enjoy being 21. And we were long distance, so I didn't really feel like a stepmom. And I wasn't. We weren't married or anything, or like living together or anything. So the only times I saw Malachi was when I'd come to see Rob. And we'd spend the weekend with him and whatever. But it really hit me when Rob and I moved in together. So after I graduated, I moved down here because Rob had a really good job out here and I didn't have a job, so I figured I would get a job out here. So we moved in together, and that's when it hit me, because I went from like partying every day and living a very independent life. Even though we were in a relationship, it was long distance, so I did spend most of my time with friends or by myself, never with kids. I went from being like a party girl to all of a sudden kind of being like a single mom, because Rob worked night shifts and I worked almost 12-hour day shifts. So we literally only saw each other on our days off, which were Fridays and Saturdays. And on our weeks to have him, I would work all day, then I would take care of him all night by myself until Rob came home around 6 a.m. So when Rob would come home, then he would take over, but I wouldn't even see him. I would just say goodbye because I had to start work really early and my work was an hour away from Modesto. So it was really tough on me because prior to taking care of Malachi, I had never changed a diaper. I don't think I ever babysat, like ever, at least not by myself. I loved kids, but I had never spent so much time with a kid. Normally, if I spent time with a kid, it was for literally like 30 minutes. And all of a sudden, I went to like having no experience with a kid to taking care of one for like 12 hours. And that was like life-changing for me because I had to grow up really quick. I didn't party anymore. I honestly like didn't even really spend much time with Rob because he was always working or I was always working. And I just became a mom like really quick, but obviously I wasn't a mom. And that was kind of tough too, because he would act very different in front of me than he did in front of Rob. So Rob saw one side of him, but then to me, because he wasn't familiar, like, he was familiar with me because we'd always spend the weekends together, but he wasn't familiar with living with just me, like just me taking care of him and not his dad there. So he would throw these huge temper tantrums. And at the time, Rod and I didn't have very clear boundaries of how to discipline him or what to do when he acts a certain way. So that was super tough on me. But as like time went by, things got so much better. Valakai and I have a bond that I cannot even explain. And it did take a long time. He definitely used to have extreme temper tantrums, like extreme. But luckily those have like definitely simmered down. And now I'm like definitely probably his like primary caretaker, because I take care of him during the day because I'm not working right now, and like I also help out at night because Rob has to sleep for work. So I've gotten extremely close to him, and the rewards of it are just like amazing. So he like has naturally started to call me like his other mom, which is so cool because it's nice that I never like mentioned it, or Rob never mentioned it, but he just like randomly one time was like, Ari, you're like my other mom. And I was like, aw, thank you. But so it's like flattering when he says things like that. Or like one time he drew a picture for me and he said, I wanted to draw you a picture of our family, and it was like me, Rob, and me with a big stomach because I was pregnant at the time. So just things like that are very like, they're very heartwarming and flattering, and I've literally watched this boy grow up. Like, I know he's only 4, but I've known him since he was a little baby. So it's amazing to like be an influence in his life and watch him grow up. One of the hard things about being a mom is obviously, or a stepmom, I mean, is obviously the different lifestyles come to play. So we have a very structured life here. So he has a set bedtime. He needs to learn. Like, we definitely have learning hours here every day except for weekends where he learns. And we teach him to be very independent. He puts a seatbelt on by himself. He opens the doors by himself. He puts his clothes and shoes on and picks them out by himself. But our lifestyle here is to make him very like independent and do things for himself. Like, if we know he's capable of doing it, we encourage him to do it. Whereas at his other, like the other place he lives, they're kind of all like very dependent on each other, which is like, it's cool. It's just very different from the way Rob and I have grown up. So one of the big struggles is when he's with us, by the end of the week, we have him every other week. So by the end of the week that he's with us, he is very, very independent. He wants to do everything himself. Put on his clothes, put a seatbelt on, all that stuff. He wants to do it by himself. And he also like starts getting used to learning again. But then we have to bring him back to his other house where everything's kind of done for him. And then he gets used to that. So when he comes back to us, he starts throwing a tantrum the first few days, saying like, oh, my mom never makes me do this, or blah, blah, blah. So then we seem like the bad guys. And that's been kind of a struggle for me, especially because I never want to seem like the bad guy by trying to give him an independent like lifestyle. I definitely don't want him, and Rob doesn't either, want him being like in his 20s and still living at home or like not knowing how to drive or anything like that. Like, we definitely want him to do what he's capable of doing. So we encourage that greatly, and that's something that definitely differs between the two households. So it's like really hard to get things back in order when we get him again, because he fights us for it. He like screams that he doesn't have to do this kind of stuff at his other house or blah, blah, blah. And it totally makes it seem like we're punishing him by trying to teach him and trying to like make him act his age. So that's been like definitely probably the biggest struggle is that. And but yeah, it's like honestly that's not a huge complaint. Like I know we don't have the typical like baby mama drama or anything like that. Actually his mom and I, we have pretty solid relationship. We talk every week. We're on good terms. We like each other. We're obviously not like best friends or anything, but the fact that we're on like a talking basis and we've never gotten into like one of those like no he's my man, no he's my man type thing that you see like on TV and stuff. That's been great because that's definitely one of the reasons I didn't want to date someone with a kid back when I started dating Rob, was because I did not want to be involved with like baby mama drama. I did not want to have to deal with that stuff. So this has been like a great experience because even though there are like differences in the way both households raise him, like he's turning out to be such a great little boy, and it has to do with all of our influence on him. He's one of the most loving, caring little boys I've ever met. He's such a good big brother. He is obsessed with Camila, which is like the greatest gift. Whenever she cries, he goes and tries to make her smile or hug her, kiss her. He always wants to help with her and carry her diaper bag and stuff. And he's just very, very loving. But yeah, that's my overall experience with being a stepmom. It's still like a work in progress. I love him like he's my own, and I'll always love him like he's my own. But I will always also respect the boundaries and know that I'm not his mom, and that even if I don't agree with something, I'm not his biological parent. So that's like between them. I can only like say my opinion and what I think is best, but if they don't want to do that, then that's totally their decision. I have my own kid now, so I can like put my wants on her and how I want to raise a kid on her. But luckily, like Rob and I have very, very similar thoughts in how we want to raise a kid. We're both extremely independent and can drive and can work and all that and just everything. So we have very, very like independent lifestyles, and I hope that we can raise both of our kids to be very independent human beings. So yeah, that's my story on being a stepmom. If you guys have any more questions or if there's any unanswered questions, I know a lot of people sent me topics they wanted me to talk about in this video, so I hope I covered them all. I think I did. But yeah, one of the main questions was what my relationship is with his biological mom, and the truth is like there's nothing to complain about. Like we get along way better than I know a lot of people in their like husbands or boyfriends, exes do. So that makes me happy. We all want the best for Malachi, and that's what's most important. We need to leave like all drama or past issues behind, because what's important is Malachi, and he sees us, he sees tension if there is ever tension, and that's not what he needs to be seeing. He needs to see parents and a family that's there to support him no matter what, and hopefully that's what he's seeing. So yeah. All right, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share this video, and leave me a comment or send me a message on any videos or questions you want me to answer in some of my next videos. All right, bye.